Ethical and legal considerations with nursing informatics. The world of healthcare and nursing informatics has changed greatly over the last several decades with the modernization and advancements made with technology through the use of electronic medical records, or the EMR, practically banishing the use of maintaining paper records. But with these advancements comes more responsibility to maintain security to further protect the patient and their information. Those who work in healthcare have a moral and legal obligation to protect patient information, confidentiality, privacy, and the patients themselves. But there tends to be issues in the following areas regardless of HIPAA. Concerning privacy, security breaches are prevented using software updates, continuously updating passwords, and randomized computer updates. But breaches happen all the time, placing patient information at risk for exposure. Here are several other ways. A nurse or provider can be interrupted while providing care for a patient or charting on a computer, leaving an access computer open with patient information on the desktop, allowing others to access their information. They do talk about locking computers when you walk away or when you're not, directly in front of them, but I see it all the time in my day-to-day work that, a patient walks away or a nurse walks away from their WOW and they leave it wide open, be it they're going to the med room or, another patient called out or something's happening that needs attention right away. And that is an area where anybody can walk up to that computer and see what's on the screen or click into something else, and that's just one. Giving out login passwords to unauthorized personnel. This I don't really see so much in my day-to-day care, but it could happen, and it's just another way that patient information and their privacy can be breached. Lending out badges. This I do see almost on a day-to-day basis, be it somebody handing their badge off to do a heparin check, which should be done at bedside, but people are doing 10 different things at once, and then their heparin level comes through and they have to adjust it or not adjust it, and it's somebody just handing their badge off. Well, that gives access to their Epic or their charting system too, and anybody could see that. Accessing patient records not in your assignment is definitely a breach of consent and another example. And this is something that, I don't see happen often, but I have heard of it. And me, myself, being a patient in the past, I've actually received letters from a hospital system in Cleveland stating that somebody had access to my information, and I hadn't been a patient there in probably 10 years when I got this letter. So that's definitely something that I feel happens a lot is, nurses, providers, somebody going into a chart, be it a family member, a friend, and trying to figure out what's going on when they have no business accessing that information. Another area that can present a problem would be providers accessing patient records at home. Who's to say that the network that they're on is completely secure? And yes, it's a work computer that they have access to or a phone, but that is just another way that somebody could get into that information. Posting on social media is another way that I see a potential for a problem, and I'm sure has happened. I see coworkers all the time at work filming TikToks or taking selfies or just doing something that they really shouldn't be doing while at work. And it does get mentioned through management and whatnot, but who's to say that you don't have, something in the background of that video or that picture that, you may not even notice that has information on it, but somebody takes your video or your picture and zooms in or blows it up, and now they have access to all of that. Accuracy within clinical documentation is another area where patient information is also at risk. A lot of times, you see people using a copy and paste function with patient information, be it they're writing a note or they are sending something to a doctor over the computer or to another nurse or, anywhere within the hospital. And who's to say inadvertently they don't copy and paste that somewhere they shouldn't and it gets sent out. Well, once that happens, you have a major breach and somebody's information is out there. I can see this happening a lot with our floor and how we do things with our charge updates. It has patient information, and yes, it's summarized, but it has the whole floor on there. And when you're sending the updates to management or the charge nurse for the next morning or next night, there's thousands of people that work at the Cleveland Clinic where I'm at, and you can send it to a different person. But for example, like there could be 5 Amy Millers, and You may think you're sending it to the right person, but then you just sent like the whole floor's information to someone that has no business seeing it. Templates allow for less individualized notes. There's an ethical issue that presents itself there with the use of convenience versus providing actual patient care. And yeah, you can get around that by just typing up a general note and putting it all in yourself, but the templates are convenient and they do pose a risk. Accessibility of patient's information, the transition from paper to computer charting. You see a lot of issues, and I'm not harping on like the older nurses or providers, but older adults who grew up using the paper method, a lot of times they are very behind in their charting. They may not be able to catch up with the modern advancements of technology, and this can delay patient care, providing something to be missed or not put in, or they may not even inadvertently know that they're doing it. Loss of patient information and the transition from paper to computer. Sometimes you're taking care of a patient and they say, oh, it's in my record, it's there, and you look all over for it and you can't find it, and that's not providing the best care for that patient. And then that could bring about legal issues if you don't see something that you should see, that then be it an error or something takes place, that falls back on you. And it could be another legal issue there. Other hospitals not being able to access previous patient data due to incomplete servers or electronic systems. Epic versus like MedTech, for example, comprising patient safety if there was an emergency. I myself have never seen this happen in an emergency situation, but I do know we get patients from all over the country, the world, and it's tough when they say, yeah, I just got a CT scan right before I came here, and the previous system, it should be there, and then you see the notes and it just delays their care even further, because a lot of times they wait a day or two trying to get those results, and then eventually end up just doing their own testing. In this event, that wait could potentially pose a legal risk, if something did happen there, or who's to say, an ethical risk if their information was sent to the wrong place or the wrong hospital, and then that's out there in the world, and once you're out there in the internet or computerized world, your information's there. This is only some of the many ethical and legal considerations that need to be addressed in the years to come with the evolution of modern technology when it comes to protecting patients and their information.